Hello, welcome to The New Sound, where we develop tools and strategies to keep music in school. And today, I'm going to be interviewing producer, mixer, and sound designer Reid Hendry at the beautiful KoKo Production Studios. Let's go. How you doing today, man?
Doing very well, Mike. Thanks for coming down here.
Dude, thanks for having us. So I'm assuming this is where you do all your work.
This is the spot. Yeah, this is where most of the magic happens.
Are you able to kind of show or tell us one of the shows you've been working on recently?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to have lots of work over the last bunch of years through KoKo Productions, mostly in animation. And so currently working with Disney and Marvel, Disney Junior, and also an animation studio here, Atomic Cartoons, doing a Spider-Man cartoon series for preschool kids called Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It's good writing, the characters are fun, and the sounds are great, so.
Out of all the sounds you're gonna make for the shows, are there any kind of like iconic ones that you consistently recreate?
One of the first sounds that I had to come up with was the Spidey thwip, which is used just hundreds of times in every episode. And so in this show, it's more of like a mechanical invention. It's a cartridge and it's like compressed air. And so coming up with a sound that had a bit of a click to it and some air release and then some whooshiness to it. Just was a lot of fun coming up with that sound, because every Spider-Man series, there's so many of them over the years, a lot of them have their own sort of signature thwip sound, so it was cool to come up with that for this show.
What got you into working in sound design?
This sound design journey began when I made sort of my first and only music album. And when I was doing that, I was taking a lot of organic sounds, vocal samples, stretching them, reversing them, doing a lot of like pitch riding and ramping, and that was one of the first times where I was really taking audio and manipulating it to fit my needs. From there, I started working in animation, putting sounds in for cartoons, and that requires a lot of designing and manipulating sounds to fit specific lengths, frames, scenes, really like trying to tailor a sound to get a specific emotion, using volume, panning, pitching, all these types of things, and recording your own sounds, layering them. It's really endless, but that's how the sound design journey began.
How do you approach creating sounds for animation or film?
Because of our timelines are so quick, we're using a lot of pre-recorded sound effects, and we manipulate those however we need to be. So whether it's stretching them out, compressing them, layering them, pitching them up, pitching them down, we have to do all that kind of stuff to get, you know, a nice big cinematic sound. But if there's time, we'll record our own sounds. In this studio, I've got lots of percussion toys that I use for the cartoons, chimes, xylophones, all that kind of stuff is really fun to help create some of the humor and magic that cartoons need. I've had an episode where we had a massive dinosaur that was made of just bones running around in an episode, and you know, we needed to create something that felt like bones, all these bones were jangling around. And so I was recording pieces of wood, you know, clanking into each other, dropping piles of wood, and then like also recording the xylophone and pitching those down. And then it's just kind of, you put all that stuff together and you match the picture, and you know, you make this sort of musical dinosaur that's running around a town.
And so when you're working on, you know, these kind of films like Spider-Man, for example, do you take like a week to build like a huge sample pack to draw from? Or do you find that you just, you know, build as you go?
When the show initially started, I was tasked with creating the sound effects for all of the main characters and the baddies and their vehicles that we knew were going to exist. So I created a lot of those sounds initially for these 10 short episodes that came out. And then since then, there's been a great team of sound effect editors at KoKo that I've worked with that have to create sounds on the spot every week for each new episode. There's a lot of reused sounds from from the characters, but every week there's new sounds that need to be created. So the guys do a really great job of making new sounds on the spot in a short amount of time at a very high level too.
When you're working on a brand new scene, do you find yourself gravitating immediately towards like sample packs, or do you find yourself immediately going to your organic instruments and just building the sounds and recording them?
It has a lot to do with the type of program I'm creating for. I think in live action stuff, independent films, I'm going for more organic sounds a lot, trying to create them. I also, often in those situations, there's more time. So there's more time to experiment and create new sounds that are really tailored to the action on screen. In animation, I think we tend to go to the sound effect library first and build most out of that. And then if we need anything else specific, we'll record that. But that's typically how I would say it goes. And a lot of it is just really dependent on the amount of time that we have. Because when you don't have a lot of time, then you have to source your sounds from existing libraries just for the speed of it all. But when time is permitted, then yeah, it's create as many original sounds as you can.
Do you have a favorite tool or piece of technology that you find yourself gravitating towards?
Yeah, it's hard to say if there's a favorite. I mean, I use Pro Tools every day and I have for a long time for music and for post animation, film, mixing, everything. So that's, I mean, I would have to say that's my greatest tool because I use it so often. I really like using headphones. I find that for everything that I do audio-wise, I always like to reference on headphones because I think it just really lets you zone in on the sounds and hear all the subtleties that your mix is going to produce. I really like using native instruments, Complete Control, and Contact. I think Contact's just a great sampler and has been monumental in so many different ways. Yeah, I would say those are my favorite tools.
I just wanted to know, what's the deal with this drum kit?
Well, I set this drum kit up just so I had something to play in the studio. And I really just wanted to be able to make kind of break beats. And I had a snare and a hi-hat and a kick pedal, but I didn't have a kick drum, but I had a cajon. So I used the cajon as the kick drum and just put like a sound blanket over top of it to kind of deaden it and get a little more of a bassy sound. And then I've got all kinds of percussion stuff that I use for music and for the cartoons as well.
Could you show us an example of like what this kit sounds like recorded?
Yeah, so I got a track here that I've been working on for a while. The drums are all from this kit.
So if you showed me this without seeing this, I wouldn't have believed that that kick drum is a cajon.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I know. It's even when you play it in the room, it doesn't sound that good, but it's like it just records really well with a kick, like a kick mic in it. Yeah.
And then do you add any sort of like special effects to it or anything like that?
Yeah, I do like quite a bit of processing and compression and EQ just to like really bring out all the low frequencies and get it punchy. But yeah, and just a basic mic setup. I got 4 mics on it, but it just, yeah, it seems to have that nice sort of dry, punchy sound to it. All right, this is one of my favorite tips when I'm creating music and doing sound design. It's using the RC20. And the things I like using with it the most are the wobble effect. So here I've got it turned on. Normally, this wow flutter slider will be in the middle when you start it off. I like going all the way to the left to the wow side, and then turning the rate down for both wow and flutter. I'll put the stereo on, I'll have the mix all the way up, and then I'll introduce a little bit of the wobble down here. On this instance, I have it at 17%. And then I also like using the distortion on the air setting and then bringing it up to taste. So here I have it on a guitar track. This is bypassed. And if I put it on, You can hear that it spreads out this mono guitar track and adds a bit of movements and creates a stereo effect. And that is one of my favorite tips to share with you.
I just want to give a massive shout out to the Edith Lando Virtual Learning Center for all their support in creating this content. Thank you for watching, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video.